making people feel the best version of themselves, whether that's, empowering them or, throwing out a compliment. That's just me. That's who I've been brought up. The thought of being a nurse for the rest of my life kind of worried me a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Even though I'm unhappy, like I don't want to be unhappy in a job. I want to live, breathe, work. I want to love my job and enjoy being there. And that's the point that I'm at now. I'll have clients coming in, and it's usually my older clients, and they sit on my bed and I'm like, what can I do? How can I help you? And they're like, I just want to look like this. And I'm like, babe, that's a facelift.
I just flipped the switch. Hello and welcome to the Pivot Project, episode 5. I'm your host, Vika Kapoor, and today I'm here with Paigee Emilee. She is an aesthetics practitioner with a nursing background. She's been running her clinic for 6 years and trains other medics in the industry. Hi, Paigee.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom today.
Pleasure.
I'm very, very excited.
I am.
Amazing. One reason I wanted to get you on was because obviously, like we've said, you were a nurse. Yeah. How does one go from being a nurse to a aesthetics practitioner?
Wow. Well, where do I start? So I initially, obviously, I did my nursing training in uni. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. I loved the aspect of being a nurse, the empathy, caring for others. But as we all know, the NHS is not the best. It's stressful, to say the least. And I've always had, I love beauty. I love making people feel the best version of themselves, whether that's, empowering them or, throwing out a compliment. That's just me. That's who I've been brought up to be. And as I was studying in uni, I was like, oh, do you know what? I can go somewhere else with this degree as well. I don't just have to be a nurse. The thought of being a nurse for the rest of my life kind of worried me a little bit, I'm not going to lie, even though I loved, doing the job. Yeah. But I just thought, where else can I go with this degree? And I saw, obviously, other people, the girl that I used to go to, for my treatments, my aesthetic treatments, she was once a nurse and she was like, oh, yeah, I loved it. However, I've now completely changed careers. And it just got me thinking, like, I can do something else with this. So it's always been in the back of my mind, even when I was training to be a nurse, that I did want to, go into the aesthetic industry. And then once I qualified, I thought, F it. What have I got to lose? I'll never know unless I try. So I did a course, obviously, in aesthetics, a foundation course. Got to grips with that. I am a perfectionist, so I'm not one to jump the gun too quick in terms of, booking onto master classes. I'll do my foundation and then I'm trained in X, Y, Z the week after. I kind of got to grips with it, increased my knowledge, my skills, learnt so much. Until, I've built my brand, my name, and I feel like I'm at a really good point in my career now.
You've got people who travel quite far, right, to get their treatments done from you.
Yeah, and that is just bizarre because little old me 6 years ago would never have thought that.
And why do you think that is, though? Why do you think, because they could go anywhere, they could go somewhere that's local to them? Why do you think that people, like, what's the furthest that someone travels to you? Is it like...
God, I've had people from Wales.
Really?
Yeah. Wales, Yorkshire, like Leeds. Yeah. It's amazing, really. But I do think I pride myself on, I'm very ethical. I'm a very ethical practitioner. Again, going back to how I treat people, not in my career or in my business, just how I am naturally with people. I have their best interests at heart. Yeah. That's, again, going back to nursing. You always have that patient's best interests at heart. And that's where it's kind of come into my business. Yeah. I always think what is best for them. I'm a very ethical practitioner. I don't just do something for the sake of it. If they've asked me to do it, it's always a case of, well, let me assess the situation to see if you actually need it. Yeah. And, there's so many people in this industry that do what I do. Yeah. And I feel like people come to me for my work and for me, and it's kind of an experience, I say to clients. Yeah. I've been to places before where I've kind of been like, it's like a conveyor belt of clients, and I felt so like anxious. You're already anxious anyway. Don't forget, aesthetics is a very big treatment to have.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's very invasive. It's a massive, massive step. A lot of people haven't had it before. You need to be educated on it before you even go ahead to do that, to have that treatment.
Yeah.
So again, I've been there in that situation where I've been into clinics. It's like a conveyor belt. It's not like a hi, how are you? Getting to know that person on a bit of a deeper level and having a proper conversation with them. It's literally, I've been in places where I've sat down and I'm in out in 15 minutes, and it's just like, yeah, I like my lips, but I won't be going there again because your experience was not nice.
Yeah.
I didn't feel comfortable. Whereas with me, I feel like I give that experience to my clients. Yeah. You don't just come in and you're gone in 15 minutes. We sit down, we have a good chat about, what you're wanting to enhance, what you're wanting to change, what your main concerns are. How can I help? What treatment plan can I put in place to make you feel the best natural version of yourself? And once we've come up with that treatment plan, I always say to clients, you don't just come and we have to do the treatment there and then. Have a think about it. If you've got any questions, voice them to me, or, have a think about it at home, write them down, message me, and we can have a discussion about it. There's no obligation to book in with me. And I feel like that's kind of my niche really in my business. It's not just we do your treatment and you go.
Yeah. So you, like you said, you've got this initial consultation beforehand where you're really trying to figure out, what does this person want?
Yeah.
And would you say as well, like, because you've had that nursing background, like that's why you are quite a good listener and, you want to make sure that they feel comfortable. Is that kind of your
100%, 100%. And I take pride in my work, but I also take pride in how I make people feel when they are in my clinic. So I'll always make them feel comfortable. And if they are very unsure about something, I'm not one to take the money and be like, well, just do it. Yeah. I'm always like, well, you need to be sure about this treatment. You need to be sure that you want this. Absolutely. And if you're not, then let's not go ahead with it. And I do, like I said, pride myself on making them feel comfortable when they're there before getting the treatment and afterwards as well. I want them to feel, the best version of themselves walking out with the treatment, and that they can come back at any point, and I'm always there for them afterwards.
That's so good that you've got kind of a little bit like an after
yeah, it's kind of like a journey. I always say like, it's not just a client that pops in and out. I go on a journey with them to make themselves feel the best version of them without obviously making them unnatural, which unfortunately in this industry, people can get filler blind. Yeah. It's a really rubbish industry sometimes, and it kind of has quite a negative, what's the word I'm trying to find?
Connotations?
100%. Yeah. There is a lot of negative connotations around aesthetics and what's right and what's wrong, and what's overfilled and what's not. Sure. For instance, if I've got a client that comes to me and they're like, I don't want the ducky look, because the ducky look once was a look. Yeah. And that's from poorly filled lips and practitioners not being able to say no to that client. And it's quite sad really, because not all of us are like that. Yeah. We don't all just do ducky lips. We always, a lot of us do say no. And that's, again, I pride myself on saying no. If I feel like a client doesn't need something, I will say no.
I think that's so good though, that you, again, like you really lead with that kind of ethical practice. Yeah. And you've kind of got their best interests at heart. Because
it's just about setting boundaries as well, 100%. It's always setting them boundaries and being really open and honest with your client. Again, what I did in my nursing, I always had to be open and honest with patients and their parents and their family members. You can't beat around the bush. You can't lie. No. So again, this is where it comes into practice with my aesthetics. I will only ever be open and honest with my clients. If I can't meet their expectation, I'm sorry, but I'm not the practitioner for them. I sometimes, and I laugh about it, I'll have clients coming in, and it's usually my older clients, and they sit on my bed and I'm like, what can I do? How can I help you? And they're like, I just want to look like this. And I'm like, babe, that's a facelift. Like, there's only so much, aesthetic treatments can do. That's a facelift. Yeah. And it's about being open and honest with them and saying, I can't meet your expectation, unfortunately. These are what I could suggest in terms of helping, some way at least, about enhancing your natural beauty. However, what you want from me, I can't unfortunately achieve, which not a lot of people do, Davika. Like, a lot of practitioners will be like, yeah, okay, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And what's that doing to that client? They're going to be really disappointed
Sure.
because their expectations weren't met.
Wow.
And I'd rather be open and honest,
Yeah.
set them expectations, and them not be disappointed in me as a practitioner.
No, of course. But I like what you said about like enhancing their natural beauty, because like you said, like the perception of, you know, getting work done, and
Yeah.
even to be fair, like probably until recently, that idea of like, oh my God, like, well, if I do that, then I'm going to ruin my face. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But like some people, they do just want to enhance their beauty, and that's absolutely fine.
Of course. And it's doable.
It is doable. But I like the fact that you said that, like, you know, you really go on this journey with them as well, and tell them as well if they're kind of blind. They've got, what is it, filler blind?
Yeah, it's filler blind.
Wow.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
People become filler blind. And I have it with clients, unfortunately, where the filler blindness comes from, like, so they have the treatment and the filler is still there, the results are still there, but because they've not had it in like 6-7 months, they're like, oh my God, I need to go back because I've not had it in such a long time. Yeah, it's like, but then when they come into clinic, it's like, well, you don't actually need it. So why do you feel like you need it? And like, well, I've not had it in a while. And I'm like, but do you really necessarily need it? Looking at your lips or your cheeks or your chin, do you really feel like you need more in it? Because I can see there's still some in there and it's still looking defined and it's still looking gorgeous. Do we really need to add more in there? Because it can go one way or another here. If I was to say yes to it and we put more in, they could be like, well, I hate it. Do you know what I mean? So this is why it's so important to be so open and honest in this industry with your clients. And if they don't like it, that's fine. I would rather be open and honest and know that I have their best interests at heart and have said no, as opposed to going ahead with something that I'm not really comfortable doing when I feel like they don't need it.
I love that though, because for some people, like, they would just, you know, that's just money. That's money on the table.
You are so right. And that is what is so wrong in this industry. People would grab it in a heartbeat and be like, oh my God, it's money. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, people can start looking not like themselves anymore. Unfortunately. And that's not what I am with my business.
Well, that's good
I
then.
am wanting to enhance their natural beauty, to make themselves feel the best version of them.
Yeah. And you know, you said that like you go through this whole journey with them.
Yeah.
You know, we were chatting earlier and you were like, yeah, like sometimes, you know, I'm just chatting away and I'm talking. I bet for some people it's like being their therapist as well, right?
Oh my God, 100%.
You're not just their kind of practitioner. You're someone who can listen to them and like go through life with them.
100%. And I feel like sometimes that's not really spoke about. Like, I've been there for my clients through breakups, through marriage breakups, through deaths in the family. I've been crying with them. And it's, you know, you build that rapport up with your client, especially obviously your returning clients and your loyal clients. It's like, it's not just a, hi, come in, have your treatment. It's like, oh, well, how's your husband, Gary? Or how, you know, how's work? And, you know, I love the fact that my clients can come to me and vent. Yeah. They can use that appointment, you know, mum's coming away from the children for an hour or so, and they just come to my clinic as a safe space vent, but also for me to make them feel beautiful and feel listened to. And I just love that. I love it so much. I'm not just a practitioner. I listen, I give advice, and vice versa. They're probably sick of hearing about my dramas and the salon rano and stuff, but it's so nice that it's reciprocated. 100%. You kind of build that friendship with your clients.
Yeah. I can only relate in, obviously I've not actually gone and got any work done.
Yeah.
I did say to you, when I do decide to, then I'll come to you, obviously.
Absolutely, darling. I've got your back.
Be able to enhance my natural beauty.
Absolutely.
But I can think about, you know, if I go to the hairdressers, for example. Yeah. And I'm actually like, I don't actually go to the hairdressers and say, this is what I want. I always say to them, like, I trust you.
Trust you.
This is your bag. This is your expertise. I just basically say to them, you know, my hair's really thick. Can you just make it a little bit, bit more smoother? Yeah. But I've opened up to like hairdressers before. I've told hairdressers things that I've not even told anybody else.
There you go.
So I understand the concept of it being like a safe space.
Yeah, but that's so nice because that just shows that your hairdresser has made you feel that comfortable and that welcomed into their environment and their workspace that you can open up to them.
Yeah.
And just going back to what you said then in terms of trust, that is music to my ears. I love that word trust. Like when a client comes to me and they're like, I trust you, like you just do whatever. As much as I'm like, well, hang on a minute, I need you to tell me what your main concern is before I start, being like X, Y, Z or saying no. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But when they walk in, they're like, I trust you, like I trust whatever you think. My heart just flutters. I'm just like, oh my God, that's amazing. I just love that because you need to be going to somebody, whether it's for your hair, your nails, whatever treatment you're getting, you need to be going to somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's your face. It's your, you're putting your faith into the hands and you need to be able to trust them.
Yeah.
100%. So when a client comes to me and says that, it's so nice.
So it's not so different from nursing, is it?
No.
It's literally the same skill set, like you said.
It's so nice.
So it's not so different from nursing, is it?
No.
It's literally the same skill set, like you said, empathy, understanding.
It's so nice.
So it's not so different from nursing, is it?
No.
It's literally the same skill set, like you said, empathy, understanding, having difficult conversations when you need to have difficult.
And so obviously you're nursing all of those characteristics of, your empathy and you're having difficult conversations and, they all still come to play with my aesthetics career. However, nursing side was stressful. It was tough. It was tough on my mental health. It's sad. It's really sad, specifically because I was in pediatrics.
Oh, wow.
So I'm dealing with really poorly children and having to deal with, difficult conversations with parents and them, constantly asking questions and what about this and what about that? Are they going to be okay?
Wow.
Well, no, they're not, unfortunately. And this is why I've took the pivot to my aesthetics career where I can still use those characteristics and, use that empathy and things like that in my aesthetics, but I'm making people feel beautiful and I'm building friendships with that.
Wow.
That's the difference. And it's so lovely. It's so nice for that change.
Wow. I can't believe that, you were telling me earlier that you were literally still nursing until only about a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, can you deep dive into that? Because that was a lot, right? You were working a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're working in pediatrics, so it's
heavy.
A lot. Yeah, it's not like it's a lot.
Yeah, so obviously I did my nursing and I was in my nursing for just short of 5 years. I was employed by the NHS for 3 years until, again, so once I qualified, I did my aesthetics course and I was just dipping and dabbing, building up my confidence, building my clientele
up.
up.
On the side a little bit.
Absolutely, just doing it on the side every so often. My aesthetics was working around my NHS job. Yeah. So my NHS job was my everything at that time. My business in aesthetics was just kind of a little side piece, as you say, which is so ironic because now that's my everything.
It's become your main
It's
piece.
my world. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I was doing that on the side and I was just a bit like, God, I really love, making people feel amazing and enhancing them and just the look on their face. And I've had clients cry. Like, it's amazing. It's life-changing. So I was just a bit like, I want to get busier in my business. What can I do that will make me busier? So something had to give. Yeah. In life, unfortunately, you're going to have to, it's what's the word now that it's sacrifices. That's the word. Had to sacrifice something in order to put my all into this business. So I went completely from being employed in the NHS to just like an agency bank, which was amazing. I got to pick and choose my shifts so that I could put my all into my aesthetics business. I could, put more hours into it. I could offer more appointments to clients. And then my NHS job could just be, again, a side piece. So it just flipped 360. So now, at this point in my life, my business was my everything and my banking was just a little side piece where I just did it as and when. It fitted around my business.
I've just got a song in my head. I just flipped the switch.
I just flipped the switch. Literally, I flipped the switch. In like, which, looking back
Do you know what? We need to
now,
do the click at the same time.
I just flipped the switch.
I just flipped the switch.
In the
Put
background.
that as a hook.
Yeah,
Hook.
please do. But yeah, it's mad. And like, obviously reflecting back on that now, it's like, shit, I did that.
Yeah.
In just the space of 3 years, really, from studying, like working my ass off for 3 years.
And it's
like,
a lot.
it's heavy.
Being a nurse, like I've got a few friends who've done a nurses, the actual uni experience, like you're doing so many placements, aren't you?
It's heavy and you don't get paid for it.
You don't get paid for the placements.
So I'm there
either.
doing like 50-hour placement hours, not getting paid for it, having to get obviously money in at the same time. So I was working like banking shifts to be like a support worker
Wow.
at the same time. So I was like working 7 days a week. So again, I'm so grateful for that because I was able to build money to then obviously enroll onto my aesthetics course because they're not cheap.
No, of course not.
Which then enabled me to obviously be where I am today. So yeah, I continued to obviously dibble and dabble in the agency work, still, have my nursey skills every so often alongside running my business. And again, I just flipped the switch. Like there was a light bulb moment where I was just like, what am I doing here? Like I got to a point where it was a realization where I was really enjoying my aesthetics career and my running my business, that when I got to work at the NHS, I hated it. I was like, nah, like what am I doing? I've got a career where I love, I wouldn't even call it work, and I'm really enjoying it. What am I doing on this side piece? I'm just going for the money, and money isn't everything. I'm not even enjoying it. The time that I am there, I'm miserable, and I'm coming home miserable when I know that I've got something good here that I could really focus on and put my all into it, and it could be something good. So
that decision to double down though, right? Because let's say the NHS role, even the contract work that you were doing, it's still that level of security.
It absolutely is, 100%.
So even though you were like, right, it's time for me to just go all in and double down, let's not pretend, I'm sure that was still a little bit nerve-wracking.
100%, absolutely. I mean, again, money-wise, I'd be taking a cut money-wise.
Right.
And yeah, it's a big decision. Also, what people don't realise is, you're not keeping up your skills in the NHS. So obviously, it's nursing terminology, but like your IVs and things like that. Yes, it still comes into place with your aesthetics.
Yeah.
However, a little bit of me was a bit like, I didn't really want to let it go without. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I worked so hard in uni.
Yeah, of course.
To get that nursing job, and that was my everything, and I really wanted that, and I really wanted that nursing role, and then to just let go of it one day like that, I was just a bit like, it was a bit of a sweet moment for me, really, because I knew why I was doing it. I knew I had to do it to get somewhere in my aesthetics career, and that was my main focus. I wanted to, build a clinic where I was just solely working that in the end. So yeah, and to be honest, looking back on it, I don't miss my nursing, really. I'm so grateful it got me to where I am today.
Yeah, like literally it's like a 100% season in your life, right?
Yeah, 100%. So there's so many goals that I've set. So it's all work in progress still. But looking back at little old me 6 years ago, thinking, yeah, I want to start an aesthetics business and, I want to get up in the industry, to now opening my second salon.
Wow.
Well, it's not a salon, it's a second clinic.
Second clinic.
Yeah, it's mad. It's like, wow, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
That's mad.
I know.
You've done that.
I know.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy.
I just flipped the switch.
I have, and it's nice to, see that journey that I've been on, from going to fully being employed in the NHS, being unhappy, being stressed. Like I got home from a night shift once, and I'll never forget it. It was in the apartment where Carlton and Simon lived, and I got home, and
our partners are friends.
our partners, they're friends.
They're like boys.
Yeah, they are. The boys.
Boys,
Typical
boys.
boy.
Typical boys.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's the girls' time today.
yeah, exactly. But I got home, the apartment, about Carlton thinking, God, she's an absolute screwy loose. And I just broke down to Simon. All he had to say to me was, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, this role of being a nurse, taking everybody else's load, the stress. Like, I think people don't realise the stress, what's the word I'm trying to find? The responsibility
Yeah.
of being a nurse at 21 years of age.
It's crazy.
How crazy it is, and how the responsibility
Yeah.
of being a nurse at 21 years of age.
It's crazy.
How crazy it is, and how much it takes its toll on your mental and physical health. Like it's constantly understaffed. It's constantly like I could be working 12 hours and not have an ounce of sip of water.
Yeah.
And don't forget, like, you're 21 years of age looking after critically unwell patients.
It's crazy.
Who, you're not only just looking after them, you're looking after the family members
Of course
as well.
you are.
And you got to take the load of, how they're feeling and being there for them, but you're not being there for yourself. Like, how do you feel after that shift? I never reflected on my emotions. I always held it in, and even though Simon would say, "How's work been?" Yeah, it's been all right. And I'd probably do like 4 or 5 shifts that week until I come to a blow, because I've held my emotions in so much, because I don't want to offload to him so much, because it might upset him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just came to a blow in the end, and it was just like, I'm unhappy. Like, I don't want to be unhappy in a job. I want to live, breathe, work. I want to love my job and enjoy being there. And that's the point that I'm at now.
That's awesome.
I don't call work. Work for me is a hobby.
I love
like,
that.
I would be there 24/7 if I could.
Really?
Yeah, I love
And
it so much.
You describe like your work environment, right? Because you've obviously got this clinic now. So you've gone from doing treatments, should I say,
Yeah.
in the boys' apartment.
Yeah, literally. It's ironic, like going from on a treatment bed in the middle of us, like, to now in a position to, I'm opening up my second clinic. Yeah,
Bigger.
like bigger, better. It's going to be unreal.
It's going to be,
I'm leveling up.
you're leveling up. This is your
I
year
am.
to level up, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Fully, like, you've just been kind of like, and what's really great as well, and we spoke about this, is you didn't just kind of get your aesthetic certification
Yeah.
and then that was that. Like, now you actually train other people, medics,
Yeah.
to pivot
Get out of that NHS job.
into the industry.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me a little bit more about your journey in terms of training other people and what makes your academy unique. I know you were telling me a little bit earlier, but tell these guys as well.
Yeah. So obviously when I qualified, I was doing the treatments, still being a practitioner for everybody, carrying out the treatments. And I was doing that for 4 years. Again, the aesthetics industry is evolving all of the time.
Yeah.
So much to learn. I am still learning. There's still new treatments coming out. There's new products coming out. It's constantly evolving, and that's what I love about this industry. There's always new things coming out, and it's not just kind of that's it. So I'm always constantly learning, which again comes into my nursing. You're always constantly learning on the job, and that's just me. I get bored very easy, and if I'm not stimulated with knowledge, skill set, like, I'm bored, I'm out of there. So with this career path that I've chose to go down and my aesthetics, business, I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly building my knowledge, and what better way to share that with other practitioners?
Yeah.
And that's what made me want to go down my training academy route and opening up my own training academy, because I wanted to share what I feel I've got is good, and my knowledge, I wanted to share that with others. And yeah, it's really special actually. With my training academy, I feel like I am quite niche, and I do stand out a little bit compared to other training academies in the fact that I solely just offer one-to-one training courses. So that's what I pride myself and my training academy on.
Yeah.
You get that one-to-one experience. It's just myself and the practitioner and the student on the course. Which not a lot of training academies offer. I learned that, and the reason that I do offer these one-to-one training courses is because when I did my training, I really wish there was that around when I trained,
Okay.
because I went on a course with, honestly, there was about 15, 20 others
Wow.
of us on this course. Did I learn anything that day, Davika? Absolutely not. I got in my car after that training course and thought, what a waste of £3,000, which is fine. It's an investment. And I'm absolutely fine to spend that money on something that I know is
Yeah.
worthwhile and I'm getting something out of it. However, that day, I didn't. I got in the car, I rang my mum on the way home from Leeds from the training course, and I was like, I learnt nothing, mum. I weren't even hands-on. It wasn't great at all. And comparing it to my training courses now, and they are a very well-established academy.
Sure. Yeah.
And looking back and reflecting on it, I'm like, I wish there was something like my academy where there is that one-to-one experience
Yeah.
back in the day when I did my training course. So from that, I then wasted so much money. Well, not wasted, but I then had to invest in so many different training courses where maybe it was like a 3-to-1, a 2-to-1. I must have been on, I don't know, 3 foundation courses. I must have done 3 online masterclasses. I must have done, the amount of certificates I've got is a joke. But because of that, I then had to go on to invest in even more. Whereas with what I offer, my students come onto the course, they are just me and them, one-to-one. Their models are their models. They're not sharing their models with other students training. If they want to ask me a question, I'm not with another student focusing on them. I am all theirs. They have me and my knowledge, and they can pick my brains all they like.
There's something beautiful about that one-to-one relationship, just like you've got like kind of an intimate relationship with clients as well.
Absolutely.
Same thing, because you're literally teaching someone how to transform someone's face, enhance their face. Like, I would want like all your attention.
Exactly. And people, you need that attention. When you are on these training courses are intense. There is so much information and so much theory that goes behind it.
I can imagine.
And you need that person to be there at a click of the fingers so that you can ask them questions. I will never forget, and again, this is the whole reason why I launched my training academy, just one-to-one. Because I'll never forget, I wrote down during the theory part of when I was training so many questions at the end, and they were like, does anyone have any questions? Because there was 15 other people in the room. Did I get to ask my question? No, I didn't. So I came away feeling super unconfident, not ready. I went in so excited about this new business venture, and I'm going to be an aesthetic practitioner. I'm going to learn so many things. And I just came out so deflated, thinking I've spent all this money that I've saved, my hard-earning money, on this course, and I've come out with barely nothing, and I've just felt so deflated. And
that's not a nice place to be, is it?
It isn't.
If you're gonna make
and I
the
don't want that
investment
for my students. I want them to walk out of my academy when I've trained them feeling, oh my God, I cannot wait to get stuck into it, get into clients, get carrying on with the treatments. Like, I want them to walk out feeling like that and feeling like, God, I learned so much today. It was so empowering, and she's so knowledgeable, and she's really skilled, and I've learned so much, and that they can come back to me at any point. I'm there 24/7 if they need. So it's kind of like I've done that because I've learned a lesson. I've been through that. I've experienced what I don't want any of my students to experience. So let's change this industry. Let's change, our aesthetic practitioners that want to step up in the industry. Let's make them feel comfortable and confident when they're finishing their training courses, as opposed to me 6 years ago. There's, again, 15 other people on that course. I can guarantee 14 of them felt exactly the same I did.
Absolutely.
It needs to stop. It does.
It's good for like different learning styles as well, right? Because some people, they don't learn in a group setting very well, or they do need that extra kind of one-to-one. I actually just ran a course last week, and again, people had their own individual questions, right? Because they're trying to achieve different things. Or maybe they want to specialize in a certain, again, I'm not going to act like I know much about aesthetics.
No.
I said that right?
You did say that right. Well done.
But I don't know, like, you do all sorts, right? You do like lip fillers,
Yeah.
poly something.
Polynucleotides.
It's just these
Yeah.
very,
There's just, again, like I said to you before, there's so much.
there's so much, and it is ever evolving as well.
It is.
And do you feel like your kind of nursing background really helps in regards to kind of training others as well?
Yeah, 100%. Again, that's everything that I've learned through being a nurse definitely has, it comes into place and comes into practice with aesthetics, like I said before.
Yeah.
Training wise, again, 100%. But that also comes with my career and how much I've grown as a practitioner
Yeah.
over the past, 5 years.
Sure.
I can then put that into my training of how to safely train
Yeah.
other medics,
Sure.
of what is right and what's wrong. And yeah, again, it's all about being safe and ethical in this industry, which I'm not going to delve too deep into it because that's a subject on its own, but there's not a lot of regulations
Yeah.
within the aesthetic industry. Janine off the streets who's a cleaner can literally do a 3-day
Yeah.
course and she's qualified in absolutely everything, which is
It's
mind
a bit
blowing.
wild, that, isn't it?
It is wild. So there definitely needs to be a bit of a update on regulations, which I'm hoping comes in this year. The JCCP, which is an organisation of aesthetics, they are hoping
Yeah.
to crack down on the regulations this year.
Well, I actually met someone at a networking event who's heavily involved within sort of like
Really?
policy and regulation.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is, yeah, there's going to
There
be
is.
there's going to be something in play
Yeah, there needs
that
to
will,
be.
yeah, because it's
It's unsafe. It is unsafe. And it's about, choosing the right practitioner that doesn't necessarily need to be a medic. I just train medics because that's what I want to.
Yeah.
Again, with the regulations coming in, I do think they are going to be cracking down on non-medics. So I want to be training medics where I know they've got that nursing or medical
Sure.
background. I know that they know the ins and outs of the anatomy like I don't know what. And I know that they will be confident in, learning the theory. They know the facial anatomy. We don't just study 3 years in uni for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of a bit of a niche about us. And using correct products, which not a lot of people do in this industry.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts to get a bad name for itself, unfortunately. A lot of the time people think that aesthetic treatments, are a quick fix. When a lot of the time, and again, this is where I educate clients, it's all about education as well.
Diet?
Skincare, diet,
Wow, yeah.
well-being, going to the gym, etc. They all play a massive part in your skin. So a lot of the time, if I get clients come to me where they're like, I feel like I've lost volume here and here and here, a lot of the time it's from weight loss. They can be massive contributors, but stress massively, 100%.
Eating too much salt.
Yeah, like honestly, people don't even realise, but this is where I come in. Again, it might be a little bit of a wrinkle on the face. And it might be the case of, well, are you using the correct skincare routine? Are you going for regular facials? Are you having regular microneedling to get that stimulation of collagen and elastin? Because filler isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
Filler doesn't stimulate collagen and elastin. That just adds definition. It replaces lost volume.
Wow, okay.
Whereas if you've got a bit of a static line on the face, or a wrinkle, you need to be replenishing that collagen and elastin because that wrinkle is formed from loss of collagen and elastin. When we lose collagen and elastin in our face, everything droops, things sag, things start to crease. So what can we do to restore that loss elasticity and collagen production? There's so many avenues to go down.
I love that.
But this is where education comes into place. And a lot of the time when I explain it to clients, they've not got a clue. They just think, well, fill it. Put a bit of filler in, it'll fill.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. Because you've literally just everything you're saying now, like obviously when I leave from here, I'm going to be Googling collagen this, collagen that. Like you're going to have to send me a list.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can kind of come in with a bit of a holistic approach
absolutely
to what you do as well, and say, okay, it's not just a case of like filling in the gaps or just put something in here. It's like, well, what about this? What about that? Is that kind of what people will get when they do a consultation with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And even though I don't offer facials, Like, I will still educate my clients if I feel like that's what they need to do. All of my consultations are free. If they just need to come with me to me for a little bit of advice, I, without blowing my own trumpet, I've been in the industry long enough. I have done so much research. And again, I'm learning so many different things every single day that I am full of knowledge that I can give to my clients.
That's great.
So whether it might not be a treatment that I can help them with, but I can help them get onto, you know, the journey of maybe getting rid of that line, or you know, improving their skin texture, or maybe getting rid of a little bit of acne scarring that's causing them a bit of concern. I'm more than happy to give my knowledge and give them my advice, because otherwise it's just going to go to waste. What's it here for?
I know, but I love that. Again, you've said, like, you know, you've done the research, you've been in the game for a while. Like, you are knowledgeable and you are the expert. But there's one thing that you said earlier that I really liked, that when people come to, say, your clinic, and I know you have people renting out rooms as well, and, you know, doing their own thing, that you've been able to kind of give people opportunities if it's not, you know, the treatment that you can offer. You can like go upstairs, that girl does this, she does that, like, what's that about? Like,
oh, I love it. So basically, obviously I've opened up my own clinic, and it's huge, so I've got other rooms to rent. And what better way to rent that out to other passionate women who are in the beauty industry offering their treatments. And we all ironically work hand in hand so well together.
Love that ecosystem.
100%. And I love the fact that I could have a client coming in and I can, you know, recommend her to my girl Demi, who does facials. Amazing. And give her clients and give her income. And, you know, it's so nice, actually. So yeah, if I was to get a client in, that's why it's so nice to have a clinic where we kind of a one-stop shop. If I can't help my client with a specific concern that they come to me with, well, we've got other girls upstairs that could potentially help you with that main concern. And we all just scratch each other's backs, really. We all recommend each other. And that's why it's so nice to just have a good team that offers an array of treatments where we can help, again, people feel the best version of themselves. And if I can help, then maybe Katie can help, or Demi can help, and vice versa. If Katie gets a client where she might not be able to help, then maybe I can help.
Wow. It's like a dream team, isn't it?
It's a dream team. It's a dream team, to say the least.
And do you think as well, in the kind of the industry that you're in, again, I'm not trying to assume, but do you think that's quite rare to find like loads of people just like helping each other out? And
100%.
Do you think there's a level of like, because in a lot of kind of female driven industries, right? And I'm not saying that it's all females, but a lot of them are females. And it can get quite competitive. Like, how have you managed to kind of steer away from that? Is that because that's just not your vibe?
No, it's really not my vibe. I am a stay in your own lane. People come to me for me. I don't see other practitioners as competition. I actually see them as, I look up to them. And I want to see them do well. And I learn from them as well. You know, I kind of see them as a role model.
Which is a really good mentality to have,
100%. You should not see other people as competition. You should stay in your own lane, work on yourself. How can you become better? And that's what I'm about with my girls in my clinic. We are all passionate, empowering, which it's took me a long time to find, to be honest. I was saying to you before, like my previous salon that I've still got at the moment, I found it really difficult to find, you know, a team that was on my wavelength, that didn't see other people as you know, a threat, as other, you know, in their industry. They're like, that's not me. That I'm not about.
Done from me.
I'm not about that. And I'm always like, people will come to you for you and values, and people will come to you for you. And if you get yourself out there, then there's no reason for you to be competitive. Do you know what I mean? And see other people as threats. And again, going back to my old salon with the girls that I had in there, no disrespect to them, they were lovely, but I found it so hard to keep a stable team there for a long period of time because people weren't willing to stick it out. it's hard building a business.
Of
It's
course it
hard
is,
building
yeah.
a brand. And it's not kind of, it happens overnight. And I'm there to guide people as much as I possibly can, but I can't do the work for you. And that's kind of the impression that I got from, you know, without sounding awful, but previous team members that worked in my salon, they kind of thought, well, Paige is busy, so I'm going to be busy and I'm going to get busy in her salon. And then when they soon realised that, no, you have to put in the work too.
Yeah.
You've got to be passionate. You've got to, you know, be driven.
Yeah.
And you've got to want this. Then it's not going to work out. And unfortunately, it didn't. So, and that was really sad for me to see, because I am so all about, you know, I want to see you do well. I would do, you know, anything to see you do well. And I'll post you all over my social media. I'll advertise as much as you can. I'll recommend you to absolutely everybody and anyone side, and that's reciprocated. Then where do you expect this to go?
Absolutely. Who you want to have in your building, you know, you're
Yeah.
launching your second clinic.
Yeah.
When's it launching?
So we're going to be opening the 1st of March. And we've got the most amazing team. So it's in Wigan. So it's a little village called Pemberton. It's on a high street. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to...
I'll come and get a facial.
Please do.
Let Demi sort me
Please
out.
come in. You're going to be coming to the launch event anyway. We're going to be having like a launch opening party in April, so everyone can come and see. We're going to have like an opening evening. There's going to be food, drinks, just so can people like obviously see how much I've worked for. Like I got to a point where I was having people come and go, team members wise in my old salon, where I got to a point where I wasn't enjoying work myself, because I was like, I need empowering women, like passionate women behind me. I need to be in an environment where we're all bigging each other up.
Jeez.
I'm here for it. I don't want to be here on my own. I need to be, you know, in an environment where we're all supporting each other and we're all, you know, in it together.
Yeah, love it.
And that wasn't how it was in my previous salon. And that's so sad. However, I've definitely learned my lesson in terms of what I settle for and who is coming into my salon. Because don't forget, that's my name above the door.
Oh, tell me again.
Yeah.
Paigee Emilee.
Paigee Emilee Aesthetics.
Paigee
That is
Emilee
my name above the door. And, you know, whoever's in my salon working, that's reflective of my brand and my business. And I feel like the team that I've got now, they're unbelievable. They're so passionate. They love what they do. They are all about learning. They want to better themselves all the time. They're learning new things. They're thinking, well, what can I do next to make my business, you know, strive?
Wow.
And that's the type of people I want to be around, because that mimics me. That's the type of person I am. So yeah, the team is amazing. We've got a good team, good girls. And yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes.
My gosh.
It's going to be good.
Got some absolute powerhouses then.
Yeah,
it
we
sounds
have.
like.
We have.
Amazing. I'm excited to meet them at the launch party.
I know, and that's what I'm excited
I'm like,
for,
ooh.
obviously, other girls to see,
Yeah.
especially my clients, to see the team and to see who we've got in.
Amazing. Question for yourself, Paige.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who, you know, maybe they went to uni, kind of had an idea of what they wanted to do, they want to pivot now, maybe, you know, medics in particular?
Yeah. The advice I would give to them is just, if they're thinking about going into the aesthetics industry, if they're really kind of, they're in the medic background and, you know, they don't really feel like they've got a purpose, they're really stressed, they're not enjoying work, and they're thinking, what else can I do? There's obviously so many avenues that they can go down. But if it's specific to going into the aesthetics industry and, you know, opening up a business, doing that, I would honestly say, just go for it. My motto in life is always, you're never going to know unless you try. You're not. And, you know, yeah, it's a huge leap to take.
Yeah.
I've been in that position before, and it was the best position I've ever been in. And I'm so thankful that I'd been so ballsy, really, to take that leap. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah.
But again, if I didn't take that leap into, you know, leaving the NHS and, you know, building this business, I was never going to know where it could take me. And look where I am now. I've put my all into it. I've poured my heart and soul into it. I've grafted, I've invested. Like, it's my baby.
You're there like at the salon, like doing all the renovations. Like,
I'm Bob the Builder one day. The next I'm like seeing my clients.
That's
I'm just
crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think if you're passionate about, you've got to have that passion.
Yeah.
If you're toying with the idea and you're not passionate about, you know, making people feel the best version of themselves and, you know, wanting to get into the industry and learning new things, then don't bother.
Love it.
If you are, take that leap and just go for it, because you're never going to know unless you try.
Wow.
You're never going to know. And message me if you need any advice.
Yeah, message Paige.
I offer training courses.
She offers
so
training courses,
give me
one-to-one.
Exactly, one-to-one, which is very rare.
Yeah. Ethical as well.
Exactly. Ethical, safe, and you've literally just got me to yourself.
Do you know what? How lucky would that person be just to have that one-to-one
I know.
training with you?
I know.
Because I know you'd make them feel like $1 million as well.
And that's what I get from my students.
You do,
like,
I'm
honestly,
sure.
the feedback, because I always ask for feedback. It's, you know, it's always good to, I'm not perfect. And I always ask for honest feedback, whether it's a positive or negative feedback. I do it with my clients because I still need to work on myself.
100%.
I'm still learning new things. So if there's anything that I can change, please throw it at me. I will not take offense.
Yeah.
I want to better myself. What can I do to make myself better?
That's amazing.
Which is very rare, which, again, not blowing a trumpet, but I am open to that, you know,
Some
that
people just don't want to hear it, though,
feedback. But a lot of the time, they're like, it's just so nice to have that one-to-one and to know that you're always there.
What's next for Paigee Emilee?
Oh, gosh. The list goes on. The list does go on. Like, I'm always one to set goals. I always want bigger and better.
Yeah.
So next, obviously, at this moment in time currently is the new clinic.
Yeah.
So that is my main focus here right now. Future-wise, I really, really love the idea of creating workshops for people who are, you know, wanting to get up into the industry.
Yeah.
Maybe not get into the industry and want to know a little bit more about how they go about getting into the industry. Just flipping back to what I was saying before, 6 years ago, little old me enrolling onto this aesthetics course.
Yeah.
I wish then I had someone to coach me and to give me a little bit of advice and guide me as to what the next steps you need to be taking.
Like a blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had someone there to guide me, because I felt so kind of overwhelmed with the fact that I didn't really know where to start. Yeah, I'd booked onto this course. I was overloaded with information, didn't really feel confident. But then what happens when you are trying to set up this business? Where do you go from there? So I want to create kind of like a workshop for even fellow practitioners if they're struggling, you know, setting up a business, or if they're struggling with marketing or content or, you know, trying to get themselves out there. I would love to set up a kind of, not business, but a little bit of a workshop to help guide them on where to go next.
Wow.
Specifically, mainly for people who are in the medic industry and they want to get into the aesthetics industry.
Yeah.
I want to create a workshop where they can come in, they can have that, you know, get that advice from me, they can ask them questions, and I can give them that guidance as to, you know, what the steps are of, you know, to get themselves on that journey to creating their business and get themselves up and running. Because at the minute, if I have like a medic, so a nurse, say Sarah, she's nursing, she's not feeling it, she's really bored, she's wanting to pivot. She wants to pivot in her career and she's needing a bit of a change and she's, you know, wanting to get into the aesthetics industry. Right now, all I'm offering these, you know, students is, let me send you an email and I send you information over. And I think that's poor from me. I want to be better than that. I want to bring them in on a workshop. I want to tell them, you know, how good it is being in this industry, how much potential there is, specifically with them having a medic background, how many avenues they can go down, you know, having an aesthetic, you know, degree, certification.
Wow.
And being qualified. I want them to know how much potential they could have and how many different routes they can go down. Because you can't say that over email. And it just gives them the chance to obviously ask me questions and pick my brains. And again, relating back to my training courses, if they are eager and they want to enroll onto my courses, you know, what can I do? Could I add something into that training course to make it specified to them?
Wow, okay.
So yeah, I think maybe that's
in the works.
2025. Alongside a whole website, online courses potentially. We're going bigger and better. As always, yeah. And definitely, I think I spoke to you about it before. Myself and my colleague Katie have a podcast called Industry Insights Unlocked, which we started last year. We was toying with the idea, and again, going back to what I said to you before, you don't know unless you try.
Just go for it.
So we just went for it, and again, being busy with, I think we started it at the wrong time, to be honest. We started it like September, October time. Then we had the Christmas rush with clients. So we couldn't really focus on it, which made me a bit sad because I really enjoyed doing it. And the Industry Insights Unlocked pod just gives you, it gives us an opportunity to talk about, you know, what many people don't, of how hard it is running a business and, you know, the deep stuff.
That's so interesting.
And I think it's quite nice for other people to hear about. And we also do a kind of poll of what they want to hear and things like that. So I think we're going to focus more on that this year. Yeah. Definitely. So bigger and better things to come for that.
Amazing. Keep your eye out, guys. Keep your eye out. Make sure you follow. Where can we follow you?
So we do have a dedicated Instagram, but we are, again, learning from you today. You've given me some tips and tricks. Definitely get up on Spotify, which we aren't at the moment, but that's definitely a platform to get onto. So yeah, definitely Spotify, Instagram at the moment. We are literally filming these pods just in the salon, which is it's all right. But again, we want better.
Bigger and better.
We need to be improving that. So yeah, we'll be working on that for sure.
Exciting.
I know.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming. And this has been really good because we spoke a little bit before, right?
We did.
We were chatting about so many different things, but just like having you here and sharing like your learnings and like the realities of, you know, doing what you do.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it. And yeah, guys, if you need any enhancing,
come to me.
Paige is
I'm your girl. But no, thank you so much for having me.
At the same time, she'll also put a therapy hat on.
I'll always be here for you.
We've got to do the thing that we do at the end of the podcast. Can I have your hands, please? So,
am I long enough to fit?
Oh my God, this table's quite long.
It is quite long.
Okay, do you remember what we're saying?
Say it again.
Here's to pivot in more in 2025. 3, 2.
That's so relatable.
1.
Here's to pivot in more in 2025.
Oh, me watch!